start to the race here. And the grid is rather untidy now as well.
Well, it is. It is, but the red light's going to go on. They go out. We do get a race underway. But this is the race, third time of asking. And it is a good start from Sam Carrington-Yates. He's going to have the lead down into the first corner. It looks like to me you've got Anthony Seddon there, excuse me, in second place with Jack Godden trying to go around the outside as they go down to Hatchets. He's not going to get into the corner anything like. He's gone far too deep. I think his ambition exceeded his ability down into Hatchets for the first time. Yeah,
tricky that in the conditions that have improved obviously since yesterday when these cars were qualified, but nevertheless a chance to see what those conditions were like for the first couple of touring laps that we had in the opening stages. But it looks to me to be Sam Carrington-Yates who is disappearing up the road, 3 abreast on the approach to the centre S's though, and sandwiched in the middle there is car 88, the machine of Phillips. So it's a squabble in this opening stages, real bumping and boring over the curb as well for Richard Phillips in the 44. But he gets the car under control and heading back towards Honda for the first time. William Abraham there, brief glimpse of him in the 209 car starting down in 17th position.
Okay, so the leader is coming over the line already. That's Sam Carrington-Yates at the end of the first lap. There's 2 or 3 off. Oh, that's Jack Godden off for the second time within the space of a lap. He rejoins the circuit now. We'll see exactly where he comes through at the end of the first lap. Oh, there's 1 off. That's Richard Roundell, number 22. He's on the grass beneath our commentary box, but he rejoins as well. It's extremely scrappy, this race so far, it must be said.
It's nice and close though, yes, at the Hatchet's hairpin with Liam Brisitz sitting right in the middle there, and the 2 either side needing to behave. Contact was avoided there on the ragged edge of grit through the crossing. So these 116 trophy cars certainly not hanging around in the opening phase to up the speed as much as possible. The 71 car of Jack Godden running, well, he started 4th. He has lost places in the early phase. And also having a good little dice is Tom Partridge in 57 ahead of Simon Fox.
151. Peter Keen's got a 10-second penalty. That's for an out-of-position start. There's the leader, Sam Carrington-Yates, then coming towards the end of his second lap. He's got Louis Woodward second in number 87. Anthony Seddon is third in number 5. Then it's the 34 car of Toby O'Reilly in 5th position. Keen is 5th on the road. And 6th is Jack Godden, having come back through, although he's not showing on our timing screen. He was showing 19th at the end of the lap. Well, he wasn't in 19th, he was a bit further up, but Jack Godden not showing on the timing screen, but he was there in 6th.
Scrabbling for grip as they all slow for Hatchets once again. 89 car leaving the tricky first right-hander of the lap is Freddie Tatum, and ahead of him is the number 12 car of Andrew Woodbine. So he'd made good progress in the early stages. Sam Carrington-Yates, though, leading after a couple of laps from Louise Woodward. And the all-white 87 car with that M-Power branding. Louise Woodward running in second, as I say, ahead of Anthony Seddon, who's lost a place from his starting position. 3 coming through together as well. Jack Godden at the tail end of that trio.
Yep, so watching there, O'Reilly and Keen here with Jack Godden just behind us. He is now showing on the timings tower in 6th position in the number 71 car. Coming towards Honda to complete the lap. End of lap 3. Sam Carrington-Yates goes across the line again, but that time through the gap does what? It stays about the same actually at 1.28 seconds. Sam Carrington-Yates doing the best after the race at 1 minute 12.70. Peter Keen looking up to the inside of Toby O'Reilly as they go into Hatchet's hairpin. Doesn't find a way through, but Jack Godden now is going to have a nibble at the back of Peter Keen as they come out of Hatchet's hairpin and go through Spitfires. Jack in the number 71 BMW. He's quite a long way clear now of the car in 7th place, which is number 44, Richard Phillips. 8th is the 88 car of Ross Riley. And 9th is Richard Lakey in car number 1 as Godden makes up a place at the centre S's.
Yeah, he mounted the curb coming out of the crossing on driver's left. I thought that was going to slow him down, but no, he was ready to pounce and picks off Peter Keen. So up a spot, and really not very far away, is Toby O'Reilly in the car with the green trim. green sides to the windows, the eco backing. So car 34 running in 4th position with a rampant Jack Godden tucked in behind, and Peter Keane carrying a 10-second penalty in the 151. So was that Peter being out of position at the race start? Yeah.
Well, there were
plenty
that were in a bit of a higgledy-piggledy order.
True enough.
For 4th place, it's Toby O'Reilly coming under pressure from Jack Godden. Down into Hatchett's hairpin. Godden on the inside. Does he get the car stopped and turned in? He does just about this time. So Godden goes up into 4th place on the road. And look at this, 5 or 6 of them together. A little bit further back, that's Ross Riley just ahead of the one car of Richard Lakey there. So that's for 8th position as well. And just ahead of them is the 44 car on screen now, Richard Phillips.
Good pace being found in the middle order. Liam Bressitz and Andrew Woodbine, their best lap of the race so far. Jeremy Woodgate and Freddie Tatum likewise. Freddie's lost quite a bit of ground though from his starting position as they work their way through Senna S's and up towards the Brooklands hairpin. To the inside now will go car 209, William Abraham, with a move on Chris Noakes. Gets that done at Brooklands. Notice that the 88 car is carrying 1 or 2 scars from perhaps earlier on in the weekend or indeed earlier on in the season. Ross Riley, though, still good for 8th place.
30 3/4 minutes scheduled to go in this race. Still being led by Sam Carrington-Yates. I noticed that in 4th position now, Jack Godden's getting away from Toby O'Reilly. Black and white driving standards flag going out to number 44, which is Richard Phillips in 7th position. Toby O'Reilly also has now got a 5-second penalty. That'll be for exceeding track limits. As we're watching the 4 car go down the inside, so that's Chris Noakes, go down the inside of Richard Lakey and up into 9th place. Meanwhile, the 50 car of Liam Bressitz is getting passed by William Abraham. That just outside the top 10.
Yeah, back up to 11th position for Abraham. They've got Chris Noakes ahead of them in 10th. Squeal of tyres again as they work their way over the crossing, which is a little bumpy, and especially if you catch the curb on the outside of that corner on driver's right. There is an offshoot, which is the alternative version of the circuit used here at Pembrey on occasion, but we're on the more traditional lineup, and the national circuit providing great racing from category to category so far today. Nice to see the back end of that terrible weather yesterday, making things a lot more even today. The suspension with a great deal of travel on it would seem, for the 44 of Richard Phillips. He's jostling for position with Ross Riley, and Riley gets ahead. That's a scrap for 7th, 8th, 9th and downwards.
Looks like Simon Fox is also getting a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits as well, based on the board that's being hung out on the finish line beneath us. So this is Ross Riley and Richard Phillips battling over 7th and 8th positions. Just seeing on the timing tower, places changing further back as well. 12 minutes left to go in the race. Remember, a 90-minute race for these cars coming up later on this afternoon, with 2 mandatory pit stops for each team as well. Although there's quite a lot of solo-driven cars here this weekend. Here is the fight now for 3rd position, because Jack Godden, he's been setting a good pace. He's got the best lap of the race, a 1:12.37, and now is on terms with the number 5 car of Anthony Seddon, and this the battle then for the final podium position.
Yeah, and Anthony Seddon's finding speed as well. Last time around on lap 6, he said his fastest lap of the race. The fastest lap holder, not necessarily a lap record, but Jack Godden's gone quickest in the race so far with a 1:12.3 on his tail in car 71. Sam Carrington-Yates, 2 seconds clear now of the M-Power liveried Louis Woodward car, number 87. And into Hatchett's there, a little wayward was Peter Keane with that 10-second penalty. The car he's fighting with also now with a 15-second penalty. That's car 34 for Toby O'Reilly. Yeah,
that's going to be the mounting track limits infringements, which we saw in the previous Mighty Mini race as well, which ultimately caused Graham Shepherd to be black flagged completely, so he's really going to have to watch his step here. As Anthony Seddon trying to keep Jack Godden behind him now in that number 71 car. It's the car that was driven at one point by such leaders as former Formula 1 driver Martin Donnelly and Autosport's Stephen Mackley, as they head down towards Carter's and then Honda again to complete lap number 8 of this race. Sam Carrington-Yates a bit further up, just coming over the line now. Louis Woodward still in second place, and these two on screen, they're about 7 seconds behind the leader, but they are nose to tail as they head down to Hatchett's once again.
Yeah, absolutely nothing between the two of them, and certainly Jack Godden's going to have a little look at an overtake. He's found the space, and as long as he can tuck back across the nose of Anthony Seddon, he will confirm third position for the start of the lap. Done so brilliantly well. They're both scrabbling for grip. A couple of cars a bit further down the order, that was, in fact. 71 and 5 equally spaced as well. So who was that in the background? Quite possibly Ross Riley and Richard Phillips, who crossed the line together. 88 ahead of 44, but this is the scrap for third position.
Yep, it is. I suspect we'll see Jack Godden ease away now from Anthony Seddon. Question is, can he close in on Louis Woodward before the end of this race? He's got about 5 3/4 seconds to make up, so I think that's going to be a tough ask here with only 9 minutes of the race to go. Another 5-second penalty board going out now to, I can't see the number of ends, 50, so that is the car of Liam Brezitz that's getting the 5-second penalty now.
And Simon Fox had a 5-second penalty a lap or so ago as well. He's just behind Liam Brezitz, so it'll take the two of them further down the order. Some trim trailing from the back of 151, Peter Keane, and to his inside, fellow penalised driver 34, Toby O'Reilly. They're door handle to door handle heading into Hatchett's hairpin. It's the rear bumper that's trying to work its way loose from Peter's car.
Yeah, so Peter Keane with that 10-second penalty, that at the moment is going to drop him down to about 10th place. Toby O'Reilly with a 15-second penalty, that's going to drop him down to about 15th position, but of course the gaps will increase between the cars as the race goes on, so the impact of those penalties will be lesser as time passes. So there's Keane, as you say, with that bumper just flapping away slightly. I don't think it's in real danger of coming adrift, is it? It just looks like it's that one corner that's a little bit loose, maybe.
Yeah, agreed. Those spring clips are holding firm right now, which are mainly there actually to keep the boot lid closed, but they'll help in addressing the bumper issue as well. I might be feeling that in terms of the car just being extra drag and therefore can't quite carry through the air as well as the car in front, because it's just serving as a big scoop right now. But it'll get in the toe of Toby O'Reilly and pick up a bit of extra miles per hour because of that. But O'Reilly covering off the line of the advancing Peter Keane in 151. Keane can't find a way down the inside at Hatchett's. Nearly a 4-second lead now for Samuel Carrington-Yates over Louis Woodward in the 87.
Oh, that's Ross Riley that's pointing the wrong way there at Hatchett's in the background. Didn't quite see how that all unfolded, but he was 7th at the start of the lap. He's going to have lost several places as a result of that. This battle continues to rage on for 5th and 6th on the road between Toby O'Reilly and Peter Keane as they go through the centre S's.
The other cars involved with Ross Riley's incident, Richard Phillips and Chris Noakes, they all crossed the line together. Chris Noakes' best lap of the race, in fact. But whether there was contact or Ross Riley just felt the pressure from behind, a spin the result for car 88. And he'll have to use the rest of this race, 6 minutes and change, to try and recover as many of those places as possible. No let up in the scrap for 5th. These cars are going to be demoted at least time and quite possibly positions as well come the end of the race.
Huge train of cars behind as well. So very evenly matched, these 116 trophy cars. It's going to be the makings of a good 90-minute race later on as well, I think. Hopefully not quite as frenetic in some respects as this one has been. I can see a drive-through penalty now being indicated to 34, so Toby O'Reilly's now going to have to serve a drive-through penalty, so that's going to disrupt the battle for 5th.
So that's likely to be more track limits infringements, quite possibly. Get to 15 seconds and then it gets more and more severe. 2:09 is William Abraham running slowly.
He was 8th.
Picking up the pace again now, so was that just him struggling around for gears, a box full of neutrals? And what about this? It's like the start of the race all over again. Jeremy Woodward just ahead of Richard Lakey and Freddie Tatum involved with this. Chris Noakes has slipped back into the clutches, so Noakes was clearly delayed in the moment when we talked about Ross Riley spinning at the first corner.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we've got the 50 car on screen there. That's the Resit's car with his 5-second penalty just ahead of Riley, who lost therefore 6 places as a result of all of that. Riley going through in number 88. 5 minutes left of this race to go. Still seeing that drive-through penalty board being displayed beneath us. So just let O'Reilly know that he's going to need to make a visit to the pit lane. He's just lost out position on the road to Peter Keel as well. In fact, he has come into the pit, so he has seen that now. So Toby O'Reilly serving his drive-through penalty.
Richard Lakey over the line, bringing Freddie Tatum, Chris Noakes, Liam Bressett with him. Ross Riley trying to recover from that spin at the first corner, which saw him drop from 8th down to 14th position. Scrabbling over the curb there is Toby Partridge with his 5-second penalty as well. But
there's another car off at the background as well. I'm trying to see which one that was off. Just Hatchett's hairpin.
One of the EcoBack cars, I would say. Again, similar livery, or maybe it even was the 34 of Toby O'Reilly, who's obviously lost ground.
That would have been about right, because he had just rejoined from the pit lane. Yeah, that
okay.
Makes sense.
So ran a touch wide into the Hatchett's hairpin. Running through the pit lane doesn't really cool much off, tyres and brakes, etc., but nevertheless misjudged that slightly.
Jack Godden is now only 2.4 seconds behind Louis Woodward with 4 minutes of the race left to go, so he has eaten away at that advantage, which was quite considerable. But the checkered flag, you can see, is being made ready, so possibly that's going to be displayed a few minutes early after the earlier delays. So we'll watch out for the next time that Sam Carrington-Yates comes through, but in the meantime, heading through Honda, it's that great big gaggle of cars from 6th back to 16th, 11 cars involved in it.
And Richard Lakey had a right old tank slapper on there coming into and out of Honda. Freddie Tatum wasn't quite close enough to pounce, but Lakey did very well to keep the car on the straight and narrow, running in 8th ahead of Tatum 9th and Chris Noakes in 10th position.
Yeah, so I'm just keeping an eye out for Sam Carrington-Yates. He's heading into Honda for the final time, and I think may well get the checkered flag here. We'll just see if that is going to be waved at him. Not yet. No, he's going to get at least one more lap out of this, it would seem. So Sam Carrington-Yates continues to lead from Louis Woodward, and that does mean that Jack Godden has a bit more time to try and play catch-up. Meanwhile, very much out of shape there was the number 3 car, which is Jeremy Woodgate.
Similar lap times for Carrington-Yates and Woodward, and again it was a slight extension for Carrington-Yates' lead, up to 6.5 seconds now. But the gaps are just not emerging in this fight for basically 6th position. So Richard Phillips leads a long train of cars. Car 44 is 6th ahead of Jeremy Woodgate, and they are side by side heading across the line. Woodgate on the inside and looking to try and make it 3 abreast. Here comes Richard Lakey with his 15-second penalty. Lakey, though, not given the track space to be allowed up the inside of Jeremy Woodgate. Woodgate very much on the defensive. There goes Lakey right over the curb, but can't find the traction.
It's almost a question now of who's not got a penalty of any description, isn't it? There's a lot of them showing on our screen, 5s and 10s and 15s. So Terry Stevens will be getting his calculator out to sort out the final results at the end of it. Meanwhile, the check flag is being made ready this time, and the victory is going to go the way of Sam Carrington-Yates in the 777 car. So he takes the checkered flag. A pretty dominant win for him there. 2nd place going the way of number 87, which is Louis Woodward, and Jack Godden just running out of time to catch Louis Woodward, and he finishes in 3rd position. Anthony Seddon's going to take 4th on the road, and I think he will keep that in spite of a 5-second penalty. But then there's a queue of cars heading down the Speedway straight into Carter's for the final time. So it's Jeremy Woodgate here that's heading these cars through in 6th position. Richard Phillips is 7th at the moment, I think, but it's Richard Lakey that's next up. So we'll just get the order as they come over the line. It's going to be Woodgate from Phillips, then Lakey, and then the car of Chris Noakes, 9th, Freddie Tatum from further back down the grid, completing the top 10. But look how close those gaps were further down the order. We're really talking, from 6th place, Jeremy Woodgate, he was 38.71 seconds behind the leader. Just getting all the times updated to 16th, Andy Woodbine. 51.25, only 13 seconds between all of those cars. It was really quite a tight pack, and an entertaining race, which was won then by the 777 car of Sam Carrington-Yates. He was 7.01 seconds clear of Louis Woodward in 2nd place. Jack Godden in the 71 car took 3rd position. Then it starts to get a bit more complicated because there's all these penalties to be applied. So before they are applied, Anthony Seddon 4th on the road in number 5, 5th on the road number 151 Peter Keane, 6th to number 3 Jeremy Woodgate, 7th was the 44 car of Richard Phillips, 8th number 1 Richard Lakey, 9th number 4 Chris Noakes even. Freddie Tatham rounds out the top 10 in the number 89 car. And Ross Riley was 11th ahead of Liam Brezit, so 88 from 50. Then William Abraham, Toby Partridge, Simon Fox, Andrew Woodbine, Toby O'Reilly, George Adsett and Richard Roundsell. I don't think actually made it to the end. We'll see those cars back out again later on today for the 90-minute race featuring pit stops as well. What time is that coming up? That's going to be at around about 3:15 this afternoon, so do tune in for that, or don't go anywhere, more to the point, because there's still one more race to come before the lunch break here at Pembrey. It's the Tagiwa Type R Trophy coming up in just a few minutes time. Then we will have a break and we'll get back underway with more racing at about 1:25. But let's head down to the pit lane. Josh Barrett's got our race winner.
So we're down here after that sprint race for the GAZ Shocks 116 Trophy. The top three all congratulating each other: Sam Carrington, Yates, Louis Woodward and Jack Godden. And we'll first of all present the garland to Sam. Well done. And after the confusion at the start, you managed to pull away from the rest.
Yeah, I did 3 starts and they were all pretty good. I don't really know what happened. We had a 45-minute driver's briefing about starts, and then they gave us 2 green flag laps after having none to start with, so it was interesting, but yeah.
All good data, I guess, in that session, ready for the longer race later, know what it's like in the dry?
Yeah, I think that was just, it was a bit of fun to have a nice sprint race, but that's mainly just about practicing my stint before I pass over to Mark later. He's going to do a little bit more in the car today, so just more today about just banging consistent laps and practicing for my 20-minute stint at the start of the next race.
So Mark's going to get a nice long drive this weekend?
Yeah, it's a really good, we've got a 30-second penalty, so it's a really good opportunity for him to get in the car and get some mileage, and like everyone keeps crying about him getting in the car a little bit more than me.
Well, good luck for later on. Well done on your win, Sam. Second went the way of Louis, and Sam just slowly pulled away from you for the stint.
He did. Yeah, he got the jump on me there a bit and slowly pulled away. But yeah, no, it's a good result.
And obviously good pace there, knowing that these 2 guys are going to have penalties later on in the race for the main race. So are you hoping to be right up there later?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully this is our weekend. So yeah, no, that'd be good.
Well, best of luck, and a quick word with Jack before the next race starts. Jack, I think your start didn't quite go to plan, but then you worked your way through nicely.
Yeah, I had a bit of a shove at the first corner, threw me the way back, but we were able to recover it quite nicely, so not too bad in the end.
Well, best of luck later on. Final race before lunch is coming up, and that is for the Tagiwa Type R Trophy.